Welcome to the Sustaining Creativity Podcast. I'm your host, Mari Riesberg. Over the past several years, I've combined my degrees in acting and somatic psychology to share my sustaining creativity techniques with performers. And now I've decided to share it with a bigger audience that includes you. I believe we are all creative, and this podcast is all about that. I'll be interviewing people from all backgrounds, ages, and creativity experiences to share just how creative we all are. Today, I'll be chatting with Tim Cummings, author and actor. Please enjoy Tim Cummings. Welcome to the Sustaining Creativity Podcast. Today I'm chatting with Tim Cummings, author and actor. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Mari. Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here.
I am super excited to dive into this creative world with you, and I can't wait to hear about your creative journey. But before we get there, why don't you share a little bit about who you are and what you do so our listeners know where you're coming from?
Yeah, perfect. So my name is Tim Cummings. I was born and raised in New York. My family originally hails from Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, very Irish Italian family. My dad was a New York City fire lieutenant. So that's where I grew up. And then I realized at a pretty young age that I had this proclivity for theater,
Mm-hmm.
storytelling, and started doing a lot of theater through elementary school, junior high school, high school. Wasn't sure if I would pursue it professionally, but I did. Went to NYU, Tisch
Oh,
School of the Arts. Worked a lot in New York City, a lot of theater, off Broadway, off Broadway, Broadway, touring the world. Um, my life got a little tricky with September 11th.
yeah.
So I took that as an opportunity to head to the West Coast, which is a bit of a rite of passage for most actors.
Sure.
Uh, and, uh, I wasn't sure if I was going to stay out here, but I met the guy who became my husband. So we've been together 19 years, and I've been out here in LA for about 20 years. And I kept doing theater. I kept acting. I kept just being a really creative person. But at a certain point, I decided to go back to school, get my master's in creative writing, which was something I always wanted to do. I
Mm-hmm.
think I just wanted to evolve as a storyteller.
Yeah.
And acting is a really beautiful and pure and powerful form of art. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's attached to a tricky industry.
Yes.
And so, yeah, it's a tricky industry, and I wanted to liberate myself from that.
Mm-hmm.
And going into school was an opportunity to feel free and come at a story from a lot of other angles.
Yeah.
And then I started publishing books. I started getting book deals. So my first book, oh, let me show you my first book. This one came out in 2023. It's
Okay.
called Alice the Cat. This is about a 12-year-old girl trying to save her suicidal cat.
I love it.
It's a grief journey, and it is a story of loss and friendship
Mm,
and learning about the afterlife in ways that you
yeah.
figure out on your own rather than everybody telling you what
Mm,
death is and what happens afterwards. Something I wanted to explore. And then this book just came out, The Lightning People Play.
yeah.
This just came out this week.
Ah,
And we launched this book yesterday at Chevalier's Books in Los Angeles, which is one of the best bookstores here. And that's saying a lot because they have great bookstores here. And I'm having all the feelings. I mean,
yeah.
there were so many people there.
Mm,
I did it alongside my longtime collaborator and friend, James Rode Rodriguez. A lot of people might know him from Psych, if you love the
yeah.
show Psych or A Million Little Things. And we sat together and we talked about it and kind of launched it into the world. Um, it's
Mm,
a really important book for me because I'm exploring theater,
mm,
creativity among teenagers,
yeah.
and epilepsy, which is something that I grew up around.
Mm,
that I wanted to have an opportunity to explore because the sad thing is I haven't seen it expressed in movies,
Yeah.
television, or books.
Yeah.
And it's a difficult story because I lost my brother to epilepsy
Mm.
and I wanted to use the framework of theater
Hmm.
to tell a really hopeful, creative, magical story.
Mm.
So that's where you find me today, having just
Yeah.
launched this book.
Coming off of that, I mean,
Coming off of that. Yeah.
first, congratulations on
Thank you.
launching this new book, this latest book that seems like a huge heart story that
Yeah.
you brought to the page, and how wonderful to get to share it with so many people and talk about it more and the process of how it came to life and that experience. And I'm curious, when you think of creativity, and you strike me as someone who plays a lot in the creative realm, what does
Yeah.
it mean to you to be creative?
It feels like a lifeline. It's just like another vein in my body that blood flows to and fro. I have always been an enormously creative person
Hmm.
to the point where there were definitely times in my life where I felt like I was really needing and seeking other people who had the same kind of creative proclivities that I do. And
Yeah.
they're hard to find sometimes because
Yeah.
even being in a realm of being a writer, being an actor, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're super creative.
Hmm.
Just because you're an artist or you're doing art, there's another level to it.
Yeah.
There's many
Say more
levels to
about
it.
that. I'm curious for you what that distinction is.
I think creatively,
Hmm.
probably more than I think pragmatically, and I probably in the modern world should try to think more pragmatically. But everything comes from the heart, and that's sometimes a huge risk to take.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, I see in vivid colors, and I am really super sensitive and super sort of clairvoyant, and I feel like I'm either in this tug of war between trying to block energies from coming in or opening the channels to let them in.
Yeah.
Um, I think a lot of it does have to do with how I grew up.
Hmm.
I come from a very big family, youngest of six kids.
Wow.
I did have this experience of growing up with this epileptic brother,
Hmm.
and I think that that informed a lot of how
Hmm.
I needed to find ways to deal with it,
Sure.
mostly through reading and writing as a kid, and then later
Hmm.
theater.
Hmm.
Um, and then, you know, I feel like I have to keep creativity alive in my life alongside what I have to do to survive as an artist because
Mm. Yeah.
I'm not, you know, like I'm not Pedro Pascal, that level of fame and fortune, and so I have a full-time job as an
Yeah.
office man, and I also teach for UCLA Writers Program, and I run private writing workshops, and sometimes those things can put a little bit of a peg in your creativity.
Yeah.
So I constantly feel like I'm trying to find interesting and wildly implausible ways to keep creative. I have, okay, so this, for instance,
Hmm.
just
What
a
is this?
journal, but
Oh, it's a
it's a
journal. Okay.
journal, but I call it a journal
Oh.
because it's like a zine and a journal.
Yeah.
So I take pictures and I color them and I post them in there and I write stuff and
I love it.
right, constantly doodling.
Yeah, it's this like ever
Yeah,
evolving piece of art.
and it's a way to.
Mm.
These were some of the reviews that came out last week that I really liked.
I love
Um,
it.
and here we are in our 19-year anniversary a couple weeks
Oh.
ago. So it's just a way to document life
Hmm.
creatively
Yeah.
outside of the way everybody's documenting their life right now, which is through social media,
Sure.
which I understand. And that
Mm-hmm.
actually is, I think, a really good creative outlet for a lot of people. But for me,
Yeah.
I need more. I need something more tactile and something that I control
Mm-hmm.
or I have freedom over.
Yeah.
So for instance, Instagram and social media is always telling you it's only 20 pictures. You can only tag 20 people.
Right.
You can't use this music. You can't. And
Mm.
that's not creative for me. So I
Mm-hmm.
have to find other ways. And this is one, this is a big one for me, journaling, um, and gardening. We have a big garden right out
Ah,
here. And I read a lot, like maybe
yeah. Are you
five or
a like a physical book reader or
yeah.
a digital book reader? Physical. I see your wall of books behind you, and I love that.
I love books. I love the tactile
Hmm.
of life. And for me, creativity, I think, is actually being very present with all
Yeah,
of your senses.
absolutely. I'm curious in terms of the being very present and using senses. Is there a connection to the kind of more mindfulness experience of life that, you know, people sometimes come in and out of, but how does creativity support you into that present moment world?
Sadly, a lot of members of my family have passed away. I did lose
Hmm.
my mom when I was a young teenager, and I
Hmm.
lost my brother who had epilepsy. I also lost two other siblings and my father.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
I've had a lot of journeying through the peaks and valleys of, you know, existential angst and mortality and questioning the really big
Yeah.
things about life
Hmm.
while having to just plod onward as you do because life does not slow down for you. The world does not slow down for you, regardless of
Sure.
your trauma or your tragedy.
Yeah.
And so I I definitely think that I have to find really safe spaces for myself to um, be who I am,
Hmm.
you know, live in the world as fully as I can.
Yeah.
I have an incredible passion about life because
Hmm.
I know how precious it is.
Mm-hmm.
Losing a lot of people forces you to be very present.
Yeah.
Presence is a kind of creativity
Hmm.
because you have to work a little bit harder when you're being present to say, I see this, I feel this, I hear this, I smell this, I
Hmm.
know this. Um, and so I was talking about this a lot last night in the book launch. This
Hmm.
notion, because somebody asked, why do you like to write books for this age group?
Mm.
And I said, I think there's a lot of arrested development for me, not in a
Yeah.
negative way, but I think
Sure.
there's a huge part of me that's still that kid who was, you know, watching the Goonies and watching Stand by Me and discovering like sci-fi, fantasy, horror, the ways that story can be really impactful in your life.
Hmm.
Also, it's the time in your life you never forget. It's so
Right.
emotional and
Yeah.
hormonal,
Yeah.
so impressionistic. So I think for me, I guess an interesting way to put it would be that sometimes I feel like I could use a respite from creativity.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I do. I absolutely do.
I sometimes envy the scientist. I
Mm.
sometimes envy the doctor. Not to say that they're not creative, but their day-to-day life is asking them to do something different than those of us who perform for a living,
Yeah.
write for a living, paint for a living, do voiceover, create video games, all
Right.
forms of art and expression in our modern world. Because that's the other thing. I want to do everything.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
I want to paint. If I'm not painting, I want to be writing. If I'm not writing, I want to be performing. If I'm not
Hmm.
performing, I want to be coloring. I'm obsessed with coloring. I have those adult coloring books, and
Oh, I love that. Me too.
Paul bought me like like a miniature suitcase of markers,
Oh,
every color of the spectrum. There's like 300 of these things, and this
oh my
thing
goodness.
folds out. It folds out like an accordion.
Yeah.
And so I go to that. You know,
Mm.
if I'm bored,
Yeah.
I won't doom scroll. I will go and color.
I
And
mean,
so
I
I
love
have
that.
to say, I'm very curious about my creativity.
Yeah, I
It's
hear
this,
that.
it's this sort of never-ending thing for me.
Hmm.
And I have to say, it's a blessing and sometimes a little bit of a curse.
Yeah, I understand both of those pieces. I want to circle back to something you said about um, kind of the safety in creativity and that experience of safety. The work that I do with people is a lot of it around finding a foundation of safety and trust to take creative risk from. And I'm curious what your experience of your own creative safety has been and how you developed it and when you finally felt you kind of put all the puzzle pieces together.
When I first started acting, I mean, I was 11 years old, and a teacher came up to me and asked me to audition for the school play, and I didn't even know what that was.
Mhm.
But before that time in my life, I was a really shy kid, and like I said, I was the youngest of six, and it was a big family and Irish Italian and a lot of chaos, a lot
Mhm.
of confrontation, and I also grew up in a neighborhood where there were a lot of cops and firemen, and they each seemed to have nine sons, and they all kind of bullied me really, really
Mm,
badly, you know.
yeah.
So I just didn't feel seen. I felt, like a pariah. I felt really ostracized in ways that a kid feels it.
Hmm.
And when somebody asked me to audition for this play, I went into this room and I didn't know that I could do these things.
Hmm.
I acted my heart out. My I danced, I could sing. I didn't know I could do these things. I was offered the lead role in this play right on the spot. And that started me on a journey of feeling like I could start to make sense of some of the things that were afflicting me as a kid, including
Hmm.
my brother's epilepsy,
Yeah.
being really badly bullied and beat up
Mm.
because people said I was effeminate. People
Mm.
called me terrible names, which I'm not going
Yeah.
to say on the podcast, but um, I remember when I first started acting and doing theater, it felt to me like they were extensions of the books that I loved so much that I
Mm.
found escape in. I just
Hmm.
thought, I remember thinking, well, it's just like the books, except they're not in the pages, they're sort of up on a stage.
Yeah.
I always felt this kind of freedom to find ways to live in it fully. And I think that's what made me shine from a young age as an actor and sent me on the journey that I've been on. And from
Hmm.
there, I did so much theater. I mean, I must have done over 200 plays in my life.
Wow. Yeah.
And theater was a huge safe space for me because it
Hmm.
allowed me to sort of quantum leap in a way
Hmm.
where there was one foot in an imaginary world where I
Yeah.
could be other people and learn about the world
Mm.
and find a sense of community.
Hmm.
And the other foot was just me
Mm. Hmm.
using everything that I had to be a storyteller, to be of service.
Hmm.
I feel like my writing and my acting is like a service job. It really
Sure.
means a lot to me when I have the opportunity to do something that's important to society.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm doing those things, when I'm telling a story as a writer or inhabiting a story as an actor, that is when I feel safest.
Mm.
That is when I feel like I have a relationship with my creativity in the same way that I think creative people had relationships with, the old adage of how the muse used to like live in the wall
Yeah. Yeah.
and come out and talk to you. That like it's my muse in a weird way.
Hmm. Yeah.
It it just feels like this benevolent force,
Mm-hmm.
like a tornado spinning through my world, but not a destructive one,
Right.
but it's like a colorful tornado. And rather than like cows and trucks spinning out of it, it's like books and like
Energizing, it sounds.
energy. Because the awe that you feel when you see a tornado. I mean, I know they're really destructive,
Yeah.
but there's also this feeling of that is incredible that is happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
The force of the weather in the world that can do something like that,
Hmm.
that to me is how I have this kind of relationship with
Mm.
creativity in my life.
That's so beautiful. I love hearing how these pieces fall into place and show up. And I'm curious with this new book coming out and it being, it's a young adult book. Is
Yeah,
that okay?
yeah,
I want to make sure I've got the age group correct.
yeah.
What are you hoping people in that demographic take away from this story?
Well, theater kids.
Yeah.
It's full of theater kids, and they are quirky, and they are singular, and they have their own way of being in the world, and they have their
Mm,
own sort of interesting vernacular, and they live in a fictional town that is steeped in magical realism.
mm,
I really wanted to explore. So their theater mentor runs a theater program in their junior high and high school that is second to none. I mean, he's a professional working actor and director in the community, and he is himself a really big theater kid.
hmm
And these kids are amazing. They're doing
mm.
amazing stuff. I really wanted to push the envelope there. I asked, how amazing could I make them without them being witches and wizards?
Oh, I love bring it. Yeah.
And when they put on this play to raise money for a seizure alert dog
Mm,
because the neurologist tells them that it would be a good idea for them to consider getting one, but it's too much money for them to afford.
hmm
Seizure alert dogs are expensive, and we all know the health insurance system in this country.
Yes, we do.
And they come together as friends from the theater community, as well as some of the older kids who are
Mm,
going to graduate and go off to Northwestern and Juilliard and NYU and Carnegie
hmm
Mellon and North Carolina School of the Arts. And, they build this stage in the backyard that's
hmm
like a professional theater. And they put subwoofers under the seats and hydraulics under the stage and lights in the trees. And when people come to see this play, they're like, what the hell is happening? And the
Uh,
message of the play is based on the visions that Baxter, he's the one who has epilepsy, he has
hmm
strange visions when he seizes, and that's what they base the play on.
mm,
So it also relays a message to the people who are watching it.
mm.
So I wanted to bring focus to the magic of theater
Yeah.
because I think our world would be so healed
Mm,
if theater was a requirement from a young age because of
hmm
all of the tools that theater gives you.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, I wanted to bring some more awareness to epilepsy because for my whole life, I have not seen myself as somebody who's dealt with someone with severe epilepsy, not in a book, not in a movie, not in a TV show.
Yeah.
And when I lost my brother, I was devastated. I've been angry about it for decades until
hmm
it got to the point where I said, I'm going to find a way to amalgamate these two otherwise disparate things.
hmm
Theater, epilepsy, it took me a while to figure it out. But when the dog showed up, I was like, oh, that's it. That's it. I
Yeah.
say this to my students. You have a story problem, put an animal in it, and the problem is gone.
I love that. That's a great thing to file away and use later.
Yeah, put an animal in there. And so once the dog showed up, I was like, that's the bridge. The
Mm,
theater, the theater for the seizure alert dog to help the epileptic.
hmm
So it's bringing awareness to epilepsy. It's bringing awareness to theater. It's showing how kids can be creative and build community. And
mm,
then what ends up happening, I don't want to spoil it, but it kind of goes beyond their wildest dreams.
mm.
Um, and ultimately, I wanted it to be a hopeful, helpful
Yeah.
tale
hmm
that is filled with maybe some storylines that people have not explored.
hmm
Because I sometimes read reviews on the endless amount of review aggregator sites that we're all faced with dealing with in the
Yeah.
modern world, where
Sure.
everybody, yeah, the perennial comment section, I call it. And a lot of people, and you might know this as well, but a lot of people get really upset with you if you don't put out something that is the same as everything else.
Yes.
They want that homogeny,
Yeah.
want that autonomy. And when things stray from that, people go, oh, 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 theater kids, or oh, 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 oh. they they have an interesting way of being in the world. People get upset.
They do. It's that phenomenon of your proximity to difference that is
Oh, I love that.
really challenging for people.
Yeah, yeah. And so I'm happy to say that I'm proud to take a risk
I love
because
that.
I think it will find the people it needs to find.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and if it doesn't, it's okay.
Yeah.
Um, if it finds people who don't need it or who don't like it, that's okay too.
Hmm.
I'm still proud to be somebody who's putting stuff out into the world. We talked about this last night as well, right? Because people have a lot of questions about it. They're like, "How are you doing all this stuff?" And I'm like, "Because I'm just doing it."
Hmm.
Like there's a creative tornado around me, and I'm getting stuff out into the world. I'm telling my stories and I'm putting them out into the world.
Yeah.
Have permission to do that. You
Hmm.
just have to do it. You have to let go of your imposter syndrome. You have to let
Mm.
go of all the excuses. You have to pull that novel out of the drawer that's been there for 2 years. You
Hmm.
just have to go. It's like, what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
Give yourself permission.
Right.
And
That's a hard one for
yeah,
so many people.
it's a really hard one. And I try to relay that um, acknowledge that it's hard, but also say it's so much easier when you do it. So
Yeah.
let go of some of that. Um,
Yeah. I mean, all of these pieces, the creative tornado and the safety and the stories, and finally feeling that you see yourself or some representation in literature out there. I mean, what a gift to be able to have shown up and said, this I have to get this out there. It isn't a question of can I, it's happening now and it has to
yeah,
come out.
I,
For
I, I, I said this last night as well. The great and amazing Toni Morrison, one of my favorite
Mhm.
authors, has that quote where she says, "If there's a book in the world that you need to read and it hasn't been written yet, you have to write it."
Yeah. Yes,
And
absolutely.
that's what I did with both Alice the Cat and with this one and this new one that I'm working on.
Mm,
I think people say to me all the time, "Why don't you write memoirs or nonfiction?" And I say, because there's something more empowering about taking real things from your life and
mm.
fictionalizing them, because then you get to play with magic and fantasy and
Right.
other worlds and multiverses and bending your reality in
Hmm.
a way that helps you to see it a different way.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
sometimes, I think sometimes, and maybe you know this as a therapist, right?
Hmm.
If you help people see things a different way, it's their way through.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's, you know, when we have more options, we start making different choices. And I think that's a little secret sauce when we only have one choice and it's not the choice we want to follow.
Yeah.
When we have more, we start to make we allow for different things to show up and make different choices and turn in different directions.
The peripheral is really powerful.
Yeah.
I just don't think people turn to look that way a lot.
Right. It
There's a lot
absolutely
there.
is. Yeah. We're just waiting for you to notice it.
Yeah, it's really magical and beautiful.
Oh my goodness. Well, this has been such a treat getting to chat with you. I just have one last question.
Yeah.
What does it feel like in your body to be creative?
What does it feel like in my body to be creative? It feels like I'm really having a communion with myself.
Mm.
Like
Hmm.
I'm really able to see myself without looking in a mirror or anything or worrying about um, external um, gratification or uh, worrying about how I'm perceived by the world.
Mm.
Um, there's a kind of quiet conversation that's happening that's very encouraging, that
Mm.
reminds me that I've come a long way from a lot of the trauma of my past
Hmm.
and that it's okay that I've lost a lot of people in my family because I'm still here and I think I'm living life to the fullest
Mm-hmm.
um, because of that. You know what I mean? The blessings in disguise, as it were.
Yeah.
I'm really in tune with my body.
Mm-hmm.
I do this high intensive dance aerobics class several times a week here in
Yep.
LA called Pony Sweat.
That
Look
sounds
them
amazing.
look them up. Pony Sweat is amazing. And Pony Sweat is all these amazing creative people in Los Angeles, all walks of life. And we get together and the playlist is fire. It's just like all of my favorite songs. And I go there and I dance with all these
Mm-hmm.
other people. And that's me kind of honoring my body,
Mm-hmm.
and the creative part of me
Mm.
wants me to do that, wants to keep my instrument alive and healthy and well so I can keep being creative.
I love it. I love it. I love the life source and force that shows up to
Yeah.
express and be present and allow for whatever's inside to be shared. That's what
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
hearing and seeing in
Yeah.
this conversation.
I think when you choose life,
Mm,
life chooses you and
hmm.
you feel it and you start
Yeah.
to see it out in the world reflected back at you. And
Mm-hmm.
then a path is cleared
Yeah.
and you just got to be brave enough to take it.
Mm, I love it. Yeah. Bravery. Take that risk.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Tim, for taking the time to chat with me. If people want to learn more about the work you have out in the world, how could they go about doing that?
Oh yeah, so I have a website. It's just my name, timcummings.inc, INK,
Okay.
as in octopus, because I'm obsessed with octopuses. Or ink as in writing. So timcummings.inc, and also I'm on Instagram.
Yeah.
My handle is octo, as in octopus, octo spark, SPARK. I'm also
Perfect.
on Facebook. I also have a YouTube channel that has a lot of mostly videos from book events that I do around
Mhm.
town and stuff like that. So yeah,
Love
and I
it.
love when people reach out to me. I love when people read one of my books and
Mm,
reach out or have a question or start a conversation or ask me to come be a part of a school event or
hmm.
a conference where I can talk to them meaningfully about
Hmm.
some of the things being explored in these books. So
That's,
I'm all about having the conversation started.
I love it. Well, thank you for having a conversation with me. I have thoroughly enjoyed it, and I know it could have been so much longer, but thank you again for
Thank you
joining me
for having
today.
me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to the Sustaining Creativity Podcast. We'd love to keep in touch, so follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We are at Sustaining Creativity. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Tag your friends and family so they can listen too. We love to hear from you, so leave your reviews, comments, and questions. Check out our website, sustainingcreativity.com, for upcoming offerings and creativity coaching. Tune in Tuesdays for our next episode. And remember, with creativity, anything's possible.